Boomarang. And this is my violin, which is also a fiddle. That's probably the number one question that I get asked.
If there's a difference between
What's the difference between a fiddle and a violin? Nothing. It's just the music you play on it. I also get asked a lot what this black thing is, which is my pickup, so that I can play amplified and go through some fun pedals. But I also use this to play classical music sometimes as well. So it's a violin and a fiddle. This violin was made in 1983 in Buenos Aires. Yeah.
What kind of wood is it?
I don't know what kind of wood. It's made of wood. But it's a solid piece back. And the pegs have little engravings on them, which makes it really nice and easy to grip if your fingers are sweaty, which mine often are. Because you needed to know that.
Yes.
It's good for clamping hands.
That's good. Nice.
What else? Some of the pedals I use in Boomarang, which is thanks to Dave for introducing me to pedals. I have an octave pedal, so it can play my octave up or below, and I usually just use it for the lower octave.
Those pedals track so great on violin. It's amazing.
Yeah, so
It
I
sounds like a cello.
I can really play bass stuff in this group. Yeah. I've got a delay pedal.
That must be very good for classical music.
So good.
See, that's perfect.
And then I also have a 5-string
Wait,
fiddle.
before you switch, I wanted to ask you, like, people, I guess when people are asking the difference between a fiddle and a violin and it's just musical,
Yeah.
it's not like technical. Like, what are some of the different techniques that are in violin playing that you wouldn't find in fiddle playing, or vice versa?
Well, most fiddle playing doesn't venture out of first position, which is like the home base here, but classical music will go all the way up here, which I do use sometimes in Boomarang rep and experimental stuff if I want to expand the range that I'm playing in, but usually that's a classical technique. Bowing wise, you'll see a lot of fiddle players who choke up on the bow and hold it up here. But because I started off classically trained, this is just comfortable for me, and I find that you have more options, more techniques at your disposal by holding the bow down here.
And in classical music, don't they generally use a lot more vibrato?
Absolutely.
Like, because now, can you play a slow air like if you were a classical player? That's why it sounds sort of bad when people do that.
I still do use some vibrato, but it's like not as constant vibrato as violin technique.
And then there's a lot of kind of rhythmic techniques in fiddle that are they not really common in classical?
Well, I learned chopping I tried to learn it 5 or 10 years ago, and it's becoming a lot more common. I'm not sure that it's in the classical world yet. It's definitely, I've seen it in some like bluegrass string quartets, so it's notated now. But basically it's so that you sound kind of like a banjo, and the fiddle can become a rhythmic instrument. So you always play it really in the very bottom of the bow, and you kind of have to turn your bow in a way that's not natural, that we are not taught as classical violinists. So it's a bit weird at first. And you need lots of rosin on your bow, so it's a lot of grip, and you have to be pretty heavy and forceful in and you can get a sound going down and coming off. It's that grippy sound, and then if you add some notes to it, to chop. I need to practice. But chopping's cool. So this is a 5-string violin or fiddle, and basically it's a violin and a viola in one. So it has the 4 strings of a violin plus a C string for the viola, and it's a little bit trickier to play technique wise because they've crammed 5 strings into the space of 4, so it's easier to hit the neighboring strings, which can be annoying, and you just have to be aware of it all the time. I've detuned this in a cross tuning to play some Quebecois tunes. So it's basically right now in a big A major chord, and I have the C string way down to a super low A. And I use this for more accompaniment and playing slow airs with Boomarang. But it has a darker tone, which is nice to have the contrast between. My fiddle's really bright, so this is nice to have another option.
Can you play some of that Quebecois tune?
Sure. All right, this is called The Hangman's Reel.
Love that fancy part.
Any other?
Yeah, if you have any questions, comment below and I will try to answer them. That's it.
Do you step dance?
I used to step dance as a young lass. Not anymore.